Hey, 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 good evening, how are you? It is the one, the only Natural Lady Boss L Boogie, and woo, today, as you can see, we are going to talk about child support. But do y'all remember this song that's playing? You know, some of y'all might remember this song. Thanks for my child, you brought me so much joy, this bundle of love. Now, I don't own the rights to the music, but that was Cheryl Pepsi Riley, Thanks for My Child. If you remember that song, just drop Thanks for My Child in the comments, because that song I remember when I was little. I was little when that song came out, and I remember hearing it, but as I got older and actually heard the song, it was like, wow, like that song really stood out for a lot of people, you know. At that time it was more for single mothers, you know. But today I've been having this topic on my mind for a while, and I was trying to figure out how can I have this as a topic for Win It Wednesday or Sip and Save Sunday. How would this play into basically what I do, what I've been doing for almost 6 years now as a personal and business credit consultant, right? You know, I work with credit, I work with, you know, business credit for personal, for families, for individuals. I also work with businesses to help them get it. But it's like, you know what? I always say that I do things for my single parents, and all the information that I give out is for my single parents. But yeah, this one here is definitely now it's not just for single parents, and I always say, you know, it's not just for single parents, it's for everybody. But this topic here is basically about child support. So if you're the one that has custody of your children, your child or your children, or you're the non-custodial parent, you definitely want to tune into this, because this is going to be a 3-part discussion. So I'm not going to be able to get all of this in one shot. I'm not going to be able to talk about it in 2, you know, lives. This is actually going to be a 3-part series. And if here on Facebook you see that I keep looking up, it's because I have my camera for Periscope up. So I'm looking up here, talking to Periscope, and I'm talking to you guys here on Facebook. So let's get down to the basics when it comes to child support. So now all of this information I've done part of my research online. A lot of it I have experienced myself. I tell you a little, if you don't know, I am a single parent. I've been a single parent for quite some time. I take care of my son. I take care of my mom. I'm a full-time employee, but I'm also a full-time business owner. So glad to finally say that, not just an entrepreneur, I am a full-time business owner. And there was a time where I did get child support. There was a time where I didn't get child support. But either way, I was making sure that my son was happy. So I was paying my own child support. Basically, I was paying me child support to take care of my son. So I got a whole lot about that. But basics when it comes to child support, right? So it says, when married parents divorce or separate, or when only one of the unmarried parents of a child has custody, the court may order the non-custodial parent, which of course means that's the parent that the child doesn't live with, to pay a certain portion of his or her income, which is called child support. So no matter what the situation gives, you know, it's the need for the child. Now there's a whole big thing when it comes to child support, because a lot of people feel as though that child support money is free game, so to speak. You know, I know people, men and women, that pay child support, no, that receive the child support, I'm sorry, and they feel as though that's extra money for them. They could do what they want. They get this done. They take trips, whatever the case may be, and it's all on the child support. But when the child asks for something and things like that, it's no, I don't have no money. And then the non-custodial parent that's actually paying child support, it's like, you know, I'm giving this money to take care of our child, our children, so why are you spending it on yourself? That's why I said this is a 3-part series, because I'm gonna have to do some posts and get some more reactions and some more stuff out of you guys, because child support is a very one of those type of topics, right? But what's the government role when it comes to child support? So in the United States, nearly half of all marriages end in divorce, and almost 1/4 of all children are born to unmarried parents. So it's an important social issue. So once the arrangement for and payment of child support was left to the parents, now their government, well, not the government steps in, but people are taking aggressive roles to seek payments from child support with the help of the government. That's much better to say, right? And frequently the agencies and courts will work together to implement child support withholding order, which the support amount is automatically taken from the non-custodial parent's paycheck. If the child support becomes delinquent, the agency can implement other collection mechanisms, such as withholding support amounts from tax refunds or seizing real estate or personal property. Now, I found out some other stuff, which I knew, but I'm glad I found it and have it on paper. But did you know that if your child's mother or father, who is the non-custodial parent, and they have a passport and they owe back child support, that you can make sure that they cannot leave the country? Check that out. They can't be taking no fancy trips with whoever and things like that if they owe back child support. A lot of people didn't know that. Like, I found out a couple years ago, and it's like, oh, I'm glad I don't have to go that far, because apparently I've been told I'm quite mean, and I just have that face that says F off, so to speak. But yeah, when it comes to those passports, you can make sure that the non-custodial parent cannot enjoy life since they owe child support and things like that. So I have this is my baby. This is my little cousin, and she said that she did that with her daughter's father. You do realize that he has something coming from me and your 2 uncles. Something real big surprise. I can't say it here, but it's coming. But yeah, she said that she did that to her child's father, that, you know, he can't enjoy that trip to Jamaica. No. Sit your tail down and enjoy Jamaica, Queens, because you ain't going to the island, because that's the furthest you going to get is to the 5 boroughs in New York. 5 boroughs of death is where you going when it comes to it. That's the only passport you get when it comes to New York City child support is a Metro card. That's it. That's the only passport you get, because we gonna make sure that you can go wherever you want. You can still go, but you ain't leaving the country, not on our not on our kids' dime, you know. So it's a whole lot going on. So when it comes to unmarried parents, you know, and child support, you know, the first step that happens, you know, a lot of people is like, well, he or she should automatically pay child support, things like that. Now, for you non-custodial parents, and for the custodial parents, the first thing you want to do, even though you can say, I know it, make sure that you determine the paternity of the child. You know, of course, as mothers, we know that it's our child because we done carry for 9 months or however long. We know it's our child. But a lot of the fellas out there, you know, they just don't know whether they dipping and diving, or they done dived and dived so much that maybe the mother done splashed out someplace else and things like that. So you got to find out and make sure that you that you legally establish paternity, you know, of the child. The father can do it voluntarily. You know, a lot of times it can start. You don't even have to do so much as have a DNA test when the child is born. I know when I had my son, his father knew that this was his child. See, I said this topic this topic is real. When I had my son, you know, he came to the hospital, he saw him, he was holding him, and I asked him very nicely, I said, do you want a DNA test? And he just looking at him and he was like, no. He looked just like me. I said, oh, because you would be laying in the next bed if you would have said you needed a child support, you needed a paternity test. But that's just me. Now, I know I said, people say I'm mean. I'm not. I'm really nice. But when it comes to my child, when it comes to people I love, don't play with me. Don't. Because eventually I'm coming. I promise you I'm coming. But yeah, he was just like, no, I don't need a DNA test. I knew he was mine from that point. I said, of course, because even during when I had a sonogram, it was crazy because he looked just like his father in the sonogram, and I wanted to throw up then. And now he still looks like his father, and it's like, anytime you want to look like me is fine, but when it's just me and my son, he looks just like me. Everybody said, like, oh my gosh, that's your twin, that's your twin. But I'm telling y'all, if you see my son and his father, you would be like, damn, like, who actually had him? Because my son is literally a spitting image of his father. But anyway, you want to make sure that you establish paternity when it comes to these kids, because for the non-custodial parent, fathers, let's say at this point, fathers, you know, they end up paying child support for so many years, faithfully, you know, doing everything, not just paying child support, they're actually being fathers, they're actually being active in their child's life. And even if they're the ones that have custody of the child and the mother's out there doing whatever, to find out years later that it's not your child, that is a hurting that I would never want anyone to experience, you know, for the child and for the father. But, you know, when it comes to establishing paternity, you could do it, like I said, you could do it in a hospital once you have the child, or the courts can order it in a lawsuit for you to have DNA testing. So the court will order what's called it's the alleged father to submit to testing if he does not agree to do so voluntarily. So once paternity is established, the court will issue a child support order in a manner similar with a divorce situation. Now, I know sometimes, and I have heard that when you do go for a paternity test and it comes to find out that the man is the father, they actually make the father pay for the paternity test as well. So not only will you pay child support, you're going to pay for the paternity test as well. I'm not sure if it comes out that the man is not the father, if they make the mother pay for the test. So that's something you definitely want to check out, if how that goes when it comes to paying for the paternity test. I'm sorry. Now, another thing, when it comes to child support is, what if the parent lives in another state? Yeah, that happens too. So when a non-custodial parent moves to another state, the custodial parent may have to rely on what's called the Revised Uniform Reciprocal Enforcement of Support Act. That's a whole lot of words right there. But what it is it implements and ensures that the payment of child support. So no matter what state they go to, any of these states in the United States, this act will make sure that the child support payment gets paid. It comes to the custodial parent. This act provides the mechanism by which a support order is issued in one state and can be forced by courts in other states. Now, I've had some friends that's happened as well. You know, the custodial parent will be here in New York. Non-custodial parent could be elsewhere, or it's reverse. You know, the custodial parent moved out of town. The non-custodial parent is here, and they're paying child support, things like that. There was one friend that I have, him and his wife, they got a divorce. He was paying child support like he does. He always had his kids. He made sure they was good. His son lived with his mom, and he actually had his daughter, which his daughter was from a previous relationship. So when his son moved away with his ex-wife, child support order was set up. He was paying it, going to visit his son. He was even actually giving her extra money on top of that. So not only was he paying the child support order, he was paying her extra money, right? So what happened was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you know, I'll get back on the second day to really verify from my friend. But what happened was, I believe she was asking for more money. So she was like, the child support that he gives is not enough. My son needs this and that there. And he's like, hey, I give you extra money. I give you, you know, on top of what I already get. Now, he got paid because he was in the military. So he got paid. You know, he was high ranking. Well, he was moving up the ranks at the time, but he was moving up. He was making money, doing everything he's supposed to do as a father. And she was like, oh, I need more money, things like that. And he actually was talking to the judge and things like that. So he had a video conference, and the judge actually told him, stop giving her the extra money in her hand. Don't send it to her, even though he had receipts of every time. He definitely had receipts. The other judge in the state that she was in told him, and actually put it in the order, that any extra money that he gives, he had to send it to child support enforcement, and then they will issue it to her. But he is not to send it straight to her, because he had ended up sending her thousands of dollars, and his son didn't have half the stuff that she said that she bought for him, half, because he still was sending money. On top of that, he was sending clothes. So he was buying clothes for his son, sending clothes, and sending her money, and she still said, I need more money. Now, that was a heifer and a half. I can say it now because I don't know who she is, and I really don't care. But that was a heifer and a half, and that's not exactly what I want to say, but that's the nicest thing I can say right now. But some people just take advantage of the child support. The child support is not for us parents. It's to pay for when you break down child support, because I'm telling you, when I went to go file for child support and did everything, they make you fill out this form that says every single thing you do for the child. If you go to school, so at the time I was going for my bachelor's. And then I was about to work on my master's. So I was going for my bachelor's. I had a car. I took my son out for events. We went to entertainment. I bought him clothes, insurance. When I say the judge told me to write down everything, and I wrote down, okay, I pay this much in rent. I pay, because you are paying, the child support does pay a portion of the child's rent, because if it's two people in the house, they split the money. They split the rent amount. So half the rent. So if your rent is $1,000, $500 of that rent is for your child, right? That's how they add up the total order, and then they figure out the calculations after that. But I had to write down how much I paid in rent, how much I paid in car insurance, if I had a car note, if I had, how much I was paying in food, how much I paid in entertainment. So if I was taking him to the movies, I took him to museums, I took him on vacations, anything I did, I had to write down how much. If I didn't have the receipts, I had to guesstimate how much I paid. And I was honest with it. I didn't say, I'm like, I haven't taken my son away, but I do take him to the movies. We go here. I buy them food. You have to break down the food. Say, okay, it's 2 of y'all in the house. If you're spending $300 on food, $150 that goes to the child. Like, they literally have you break every single dime of that child support. So it's not just, oh, well, I need $1,000 in child support a month to take care of my child. You're not gonna get it. They will go by the book. Now, some people really get crazy with it, and I've seen men and women that pay excess amount of child support where they can't sometimes even pay their own bills and things like that. But I have some information on that as well for you non-custodial parents that are paying child support, and it's just like, I'm paying so much money. It seems as though that every time we go, I'm paying more and more money that I can't pay my bills. I'm being behind in my bills. But I'm going to get to that in a little while. But like I was saying, when it comes to the child support itself, it's breaking down from everything that you pay in your house. So like I said, car note, car insurance, rent, gas, food, entertainment, everything, clothes. You break it all down, then they calculate it. So when it comes to all of that, a lot of times you may feel overwhelmed and you're just like, you know what, I really need to talk to somebody about it. You want to talk to a family attorney about it a lot of times, and you want to check your state where you at, that you can get free family attorney advice, or you may have to hire a family attorney to help you guide you through the child support order. Hold on one second. I have a comment here. My cousin asks, what if you want to open a new case from a different state? Is it under the same act? She's talking about that revised uniform reciprocal enforcement. Well, from what I've researched, your original child support order, if it hasn't been closed in the state you in, you have to go back to your original state and let them know that you've moved to your new state. If I'm not mistaken, once you put it all into play, it's either they're going to tell you have to close your New York case, or they're going to transfer it to the state that you're in. So whatever state you in, then they'll pick it up there, and wherever the non-custodial parent is at, they'll still contact him and whatever, or her in whatever state that they're in. So whatever state you're in, even though I know what state you're in, I'm not going to say the state you're in, you definitely want to do the research on it to see how does that work. But if you had a previous child support order in New York, you definitely have to contact New York and let them know that you have moved. Now, if you didn't have a child support order, or you closed your previous one and you want to start a new one in the state you're in, then definitely you're going to start the new child support order in the state you're in, and make sure you do your research on what exactly it entails when it comes to getting child support in your state. Thank you, Sharice. She said that New York order will remain, and I figured as much, but you still have to let them know that you've moved, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't move when I had my child support order in, so I'm not too familiar on that part. I'm not an expert in child support, but I have seen a lot of cases. I've had my own. I've had family and friends that have had child support cases, but definitely make sure that you get all the information. You're welcome, baby girl. It is just crazy, and I got this information from a law website, and another site that I went to is actually from it's called Intrastate. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. as you can see, it says it's intrastate when it goes from between state to state. Basically, whatever state you're in with your child, if you are the custodial parent, wherever the non-custodial parent is at, they will contact, like I said, that state, and it'll be an intrastate. Like the story that I told you about my friend who's the military. He was here in New York. His ex-wife was in such and such state. And they cross intrastate. I'm saying cross county. They intrastate, you know. But another website, and I'll give you the websites that I've looked at so far, but one of the biggest websites that I went to that has some information about child support is called the Office of Child Support Enforcement, and it's actually under the federal government. Now, a lot of people is like, oh, I had made a post. Let me see if I actually could pull up some of the comments from it. I'm still playing the song. Now it won't stop. See? Okay, now we got it. So, some of the comments, I had made a post asking, you know, single parents, divorced parents, separated couples, do you get child support? And a lot of people said no, don't get child support. Some people said, you know, if they got child support, no, that they didn't bother to go ahead with a child support order because it was just going to be a headache, or they just chose not to, things like that. Now, you have every right to not go through and get a child support order. I'm not here to tell you what's right, what's wrong, because I actually did it both ways. In the beginning, I was getting child support for my son in my hand, so it was fine. But then people was getting big, bad, and bold and feel as though that they should spend money on other people. So it was either me in an orange jumpsuit or him pay child support. I think I made the better decision by going and taking up a child support case, because I'm pretty sure I don't look good in orange jumpsuits. Even though I would have had plenty of people to put money on my books, but still. Why do that when I can have so much fun out here? Never mind. I'm about to tell on myself. But anyway. So, you know, I've had it both ways. But when you go to the court, sometimes it feels like it's intimidating, you know, because you're going to court and it's like, well, dang, am I on trial, or is he on trial, or, you know. Thank you, Sharice. Orange is not the new black, as she says, and it's, even though I love the color black, it's not for me. It's not for me. Orange and stripes. And I don't like those silver bracelets. Them silver bracelets that you can't move too tough. I don't look good in those either. But play with me if you want. Let's just say no face, no case. Right? Because anybody that knows me, never mind. Especially Karma, you I don't know if you know the stories of your dad, my big cousin, but yeah. If he was alive today, we both would be in different worlds, so to speak. But yeah, when it comes to when you having your child, the main thing you want to do, because I was actually coming to that, Sharice, telling people over here on Periscope, is a lot of people sometimes decide that they don't want to do this. But when you have your child, put his name on the birth certificate. Plain and simple. Now, if you don't know who your child's father is, and you might think that this is the child's father, you still can put his name down. Now, it's going to be a headache for him and you later, because if he decides that, you know, and says that I'm not this child's father, and he goes to court, now he can actually have his name removed from it. Now, in not all states, some states will say that, well, since your name is there, just because you haven't signed the birth certificate but your name is on there, you would have to be responsible for this child. That's what I said. You definitely want to make sure you do research, because I've seen a lot of families get ripped apart where they're just like, I'm not this child's father. Why should I be responsible? Monetarily being responsible for the child. If I feel like I want to help, that's because of me, but I shouldn't feel as though that the courts need to step in and tell me I have to take care of a child that is not biologically mine. I'll be a step-up dad, but I don't want to have the monetary, that I have to have the money in order to pay, So you want to make sure that you kind of know who your baby daddy is. And I really hate that. Baby daddy, baby mama, I hate that. My son's father, he can say it anywhere else. If he's talking to his friends and he say baby mama, I don't hear it. But he has never, in all the years of my son's life, has ever introduced me to any of his people as his baby mama. Because I promise you, that orange jumpsuit would look, I would have to style it up a little bit, but I probably would have those silver bracelets shackled to my chest, because I probably would have to, no face, no case. I probably would have to do something, because I hate that term, that this my baby daddy, this my... Now, if you just ratchet as a baby, see, there I go, as a mother or a father, that you just out there doing whatever, then the title is definitely yours. If you're not taking care of your kids, you're not seeing your kids, then you are all the baby mamas and baby daddies that you can be. But if you're the man, you're the woman that has stepped up, taking care of the child, I don't feel you should be called a baby mama or baby daddy. This is my son's mother, this is my son's father, this is my daughter's mother, this is my daughter's father, this is my kid's mother, my kid's father. It's nothing wrong with that. People say, oh, well, baby daddy is just more easier. No, it's not. Because they don't have that on a job list, that you, a CEO, a janitor, a baby daddy, a baby mama. They don't have that. So that will show some respect somewhere. You got to start somewhere. Now, of course, a lot of these people don't deserve respect. Trust me, I understand. But we have to start it with us, because our kids are living with us. And my son knows how I am. I was telling my mom, I was reminding her, because I don't even think I ever told her the story, where my son was in school, and there was times where he has seen me not lash out, but he has seen the wrath of what the Phoenix can do. I didn't mean for him to see it, but I couldn't control it. So he's seen it, and he's heard me say, I will do anything I can to protect you. So I guess this teacher did something to him, said something to him, and literally my child was in school, and the teacher did whatever, and he said, that's why my mama gonna F you up. So I didn't know if I should kick his tail for cursing and saying that to an adult, or I should tell him bravo. See my logic? But that's just me. So afterwards, of course, I had a talk with him, and I told him, I was like, yes, I would do anything for you. It's just you and me at this point. His dad wasn't really in his life. It was just me and him and my mom. We had lost my dad before that, around that time. So it was like a lot of things going on. But I told him, I was like, you can't tell people that. I got your back no matter what. I'm the one that makes sure it makes it happen. I've gone without many times before I started my business. There's times I have gone without. And I told my son, when he was getting too big for his britches, as them older folks would say, they're getting too big for their britches, that, I've gone without having lunch just for work, you know, and I work for the city, and people's like, oh, but you make good money. Negative. So like, I've gone without lunch, I've gone to work, and my best friend, my big sister who I worked with, and she's like, yo, where's your lunch? I was like, I gave Omari my last $10 until I got paid. And she's like, she's giving me half her lunch. I'm like, nah, it's all right, I'll eat when I get home. She's like, no, you're not. We gonna eat this. And you know, it came up like that. But you know, we have to make sure that we, you know, trying to get this child support for these kids, whether it's by government, you know, by ourselves. We have to make sure that they just see the respect that we're trying to give, and show them like, look, that parent isn't there for you. You know, we know it's hard, it hurts, I know it hurts, but at the same time, you gotta respect the way things are going, because you are going to be a better person, because by hook or crook, I know me as a mom, I'm going to make sure you have. Now, my son has had many people that have been step up aunts, step up uncles, step up godfathers. His aunts are other mothers, his uncles are other fathers. Like, I'm glad that my son has this village around him. And sometimes, and I'm telling you, my village has gotten smaller, and it's only some people that really know like what's really going on right now. And I'll never tell, you know, what is actually going on, because that's the type of person I'm a private person. But he has all these people around, and he just had a birthday on Friday, and he racked up, and he's still racking up on gifts. You know, so I made sure that he had an awesome birthday. No child support orders in place. I get child support, I get assistance every so often. It is what it is, because I know in the end my son will never have to worry about nothing again. Because I started a business, because I've learned so much being in the credit and financial industry, that I don't have to worry about going without lunch, giving him my last. Now it's just, you know, I left $20 for you and Nana to go get something. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to child support, it's great to have. Oh my gosh, it was so great to have that extra money come in, because it's like, okay, I got it on a weekly basis. You know, you'll get it on a weekly basis depending upon how it's set up. You might get it monthly, whatever the case. But at the time, I was getting child support for my son on a weekly basis. So that money I was able to put aside for him. I wasn't working, so it paid for me taking him out. Like I said, it paid for the gas in the car for me to take him somewhere. It paid for doctor's appointments. I didn't blow it on me. I didn't spend any of that child support. People's like, oh, yes, you did. You paid. You bought something for yourself. No, literally, I had other money, and I'm my mother's only blood child. Like, she has a lot of adopted kids. I'm her only blood child. My dad, my stepdad, he was a step-up dad. He's the one that took care of me. You know, so I really didn't have to. It wasn't a rush. They didn't say, you know what, you need to get out there and work. When I had my son, it was like, okay, so what you gonna do? I'm like, well, I'm doing this, doing that. And I told him my game plan when I had my son. And child, if I could really tell you the story behind all of that. But anyway, I told him the game plan. You know, they asked if me and his father's going to live together. I said, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that, because he lives in a borough that I would never in my life live. I can say that I will never live the Bronx. I will never move to the Bronx. I can't do it. I just can't. Like, I feel like I'm going to have a machine gun on me at all times. You know, living in the Bronx. I just can't do it. But I told him, no, we talked about it, that we're not going to move in right now. But it is in the works for us to move away, get our own place, things like that. But what they say, sugar, honey, iced tea happens, right? But the child support money that I got literally did everything for my son. I didn't have to worry about, you know, how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to get his clothes, because he always had clothes. He always had food, still always has food. still always has clothes, but I made sure that that money was for him. You know, like I said, if we went out somewhere, yes, it paid for our movie tickets. It paid for us to go to the museum. It paid for us to have lunch together. Me and him always had mommy Sundays. It paid for the car. And the judge was like, yo, the money is for the car insurance. I'm like, but my car insurance, I don't have a car note. She's like, but you got car insurance. I said, yeah. I wasn't getting, 10,000. I wish I got 10,000 a month, but it is what it is. But that money that we get for our kids, it should be for our kids. We shouldn't be popping bottles with that money. We shouldn't be out here, making sure that we look good and our kids look like trash, because I've seen it all. I work for the city of New York, and I have seen some parents where they put down that they get child support. They get X amount in child support, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, you got a Burberry bag, you got all different type of Chanel shade, Chanel bag, you got the newest Jordans on, whatever the case may be, but your child got a coat that's too small for them. Their shoes they wearing is too small for them. They need a haircut, they need their hair done, but you styling and profiling. I never understood that. And I get why a lot of parents, especially fathers, it's like child support money is for the child. But a lot of these, and sad to say, it's women that we take the money and it's like, this money is paying for child support and you got to do this and you got to do that. It's just so much going on. But if you're going for child support where you want it taken out of the non-custodial parent's paycheck, then you definitely want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, because eventually one day they could ask you like, well, we want to see receipts of what you've done. And I've known men that have asked, they're like, yo, I really want to see receipts of what you bought my child, because my child comes to me on the weekends and it's like, well, I need clothes, or I need this. And I'm like, well, your mom just got some money from me. And it's like, oh, mom is going away with her new boyfriend. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. But it is a whole big mess when it comes to child support, and it really doesn't have to be. But you definitely want to make sure that you establish paternity. So we're going to go back, because like I said, this is a 3-part series. So I wanted to just start off with some of the basics right now. I didn't go through a whole lot, but I wanted to start off with just some of the basics. Definitely, I've been thinking about doing it. I actually was talking to one of my mentors, and I'm going to put it out there now. And I'm going to put it out there every time I do this. If I did a ebook, so to speak, and had different information about child support, and the basic information about child support, how to get it, how to go about it, where to find the information for your state, would you guys be interested in that, whether I did it for free or whether you had to pay a small fee for it? Let me know in the comments what you think about me doing a child support ebook, especially for a single parents. A lot of times we're kind of out there just in the wind because he done left in the wind. But when it comes to the basics, it is basically you have the custodial parent and you have the non-custodial parent. The custodial parent is the one who actually has custody of the child. The non-custodial parent is the person who does not live with the child. And it's another thing that actually going into that is I actually found out later on from my sister that if you're the custodial parent, depending upon the state, you want to make sure that it's written out that you have custody of your child. That kind of helps in certain situations. I know for her, my sister, when she did it, she made sure that it was in the order that she is not just the custodial parent, that she has full custody of her daughter, of my niece. So you want to make sure that that may have to be the case for you, that you might have to make sure there's an order stating that you have full custody of your child, and that other parent has visitation rights. And I'm definitely going to be talking about that on Sunday for Sip and Save Sunday. We're going to continue with this topic when it comes to child support. But I wanted to get a little bit of the basics going in. Hopefully Sunday, I actually have it all here. It's all ready to go. I make sure I couldn't put all of this in my book because usually I show you my book that I have, but it's so much when it comes to child support, and you have so many states, and it can go international. I'm going to talk about that on Sunday as well. But make sure that you share this broadcast with any custodial, non-custodial, married, unmarried, no matter what, single parents. Just make sure you share this broadcast because this is so important to so many people. It's a topic that a lot of people just push away from, and when they push away, they start drinking some of these. I'm not going to show you what it is, but it got Kentucky bourbon whiskey. And if you don't know anything about whiskey, then don't talk to me because I'm a drinker. I'm actually a bartender and soon to be bartender, officially bartending, and mixologist license is coming very soon. But it's so much information that I found out about child support, and I'm so glad that I could share it with you guys. So make sure that you tune in on Sunday, because Sunday I'm going to bring you part 2 of child support. It's for the children. But honey, when we get to Sunday, we're going to talk about the international ways of what happens when the non-custodial parent is actually in another country. We're going to be talking about so many different things, and what we're going to talk about what happens when the income has changed for the non-custodial parent, and calculations, and it's so much. Like I said, it's just so much that I can't put it all into one. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you share this broadcast. If you're checking out the replay, make sure you hashtag replay and let me know where you chiming in from in the comments. If you have any questions, my throat is crazy. I think I'm going to need this shot. If you have any questions or you want any information when it comes to child support, definitely hit my inbox. If you're watching this on Instagram, make sure you DM me. Thank you for checking out the replay once again. But it's time for me to be that super mommy and make these power mommy moves. I have some other things I have to do right now. So once again, thank you for tuning in. You guys have a great night. Share the broadcast. I'll catch y'all on Sunday for Sip and Save Sunday. Peace.